Welcome in. We're doing another episode. So, episode 16 of The Well. I'm Drew,
And I'm Kat. Meow.
and we're back to the meowing. So, today we're going to be kind of recapping and talking about our experience. We just got back yesterday. Is it yesterday? What's today?
No,
Tuesday? No, today's
2
Tuesday.
days
So,
ago.
Sunday. Gosh, every day feels like the same. We just got back on Sunday. We were at Podfest 2026. Shout out to Buzzsprout, who provided us free tickets to be their guest, and Welcome in the well as 12 Hub and Raised by Her, our kind
Mhm.
of partners in crime across multiple platforms. So
Yes.
this was our first time at Podfest. I didn't even know such a thing existed. I believe it's been around for 10 years. They've been doing it.
I
I could be
actually didn't
wrong, but I
know that
think
was
it
that
was
long.
10. So we had no clue what to expect. None. I had no expectations, but it looked when Kathryn got a hold of the agenda and started scheduling sessions for us, it was
Huh?
technically Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So 3 full days of sessions and network events and such. So Kathryn scheduled all 3 days and made sure that we had a action-packed agenda because she is definitely the organized one in this relationship. So we get there, and if you listen to the prior episode about travel pet peeves, you can hear all about the lovely travel experiences that we enjoyed. So we did not stay at the hotel where Podfest was. We stayed within 5 minutes. We walk there every day. So it was super close.
And the conference was in the Renaissance, right? Was it Marriott Renaissance?
Renaissance,
SeaWorld
SeaWorld,
in Orlando,
Renaissance at
Florida.
SeaWorld. So
Big, big hotel.
yes. And I have been, and Kathryn as well, we've been to a lot of conferences. So
Yes.
you kind of have an expectation as far as just the flow, food, drinks, you kind of have somewhat of an expectation. And I think so. We'll start off with this. One of the things, they had great signage. The check-in process was typical. I feel like it's always, kind of a cluster when you check in. Everyone's kind of confused and,
But
you
for
need this, you don't need
context,
that.
we arrived Wednesday afternoon, so they did like pre-registration that Wednesday night. So we ended up going to do that, and it wasn't super busy.
No,
It
no.
was
And
it
it was
was
fine.
yeah, the only thing we had to do was reprint like my badge. But I will say I wish that they like conferences and like events in general would come up with a better way to put your name on you so that you're not like with the lanyard, you're always looking at people's crotches or their stomach areas or
By
instead of like,
design.
it'd be nice if it was like up further and clear. But I did really like the fact that they put your podcast on the badge. So it was your name and your podcast. You could see the spelling of people's podcasts because sometimes,
And it had a QR code that you could scan that would
oh,
take
it
you
did.
to your information. Mine did. Your reprint did not. So if you scanned the
Oh, that's
QR
actually really
code,
nice. I didn't know that.
and it would launch the app. I forget what the app was called. What
Hoova?
Wahoo or whatever. Hoova.
Hoova.
It would take you to the app and it would pull up all your information that you wanted to be seen. So that was
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
So that was convenient. I didn't use it much. So I didn't even realize it was there until probably the second day when I scanned my own QR code. I'm like, what's this QR code? So,
I
but
did like the app. You didn't
yeah,
talk about
yeah,
that yet
the
because
app was good.
it had the full agenda for all 3 days, and there were a lot of sessions
Yes.
with different tracks. They must have had, and I think I looked at the website, like 100 different speakers, if that, or it seemed like it. And then you could heart sessions and it would carry over to a different tab, which was your agenda. So you could customize your agenda, which was really nice to have. So good
It
job
was.
on that.
It definitely made things organized, but it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So there was so much information, it becomes overwhelming. And so
And getting
let's talk about the
access to the
sessions.
app was hard
Yes,
because you
for
had to have a
some.
registration code. So a lot of people, depending on how you got your tickets, didn't have one. So you couldn't access the agenda. Anyway, sorry. I just
There
wanted to
was a
throw
lot
that
of
in there.
people that attended. So it
Yeah.
was a large amount of people, which was surprising to me, but a total mixed bag too. Like a complete mixed bag of people and podcast topics and
Yes.
experience. So day one, the sessions kind of set a tone for me, at least, in regards to how things were going to proceed the next few days. And this is not trashing Podfest at all. This is just we had a different I had a different expectation. What do I mean by that is some of the sessions that we went into, and again, we were looking, so the sessions that we were kind of geared towards were more about growth, monetization, and kind of tooling. So
Right.
AI tooling, anything to support the scaling of your platform.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people know this. I've been podcasting 8 years, right? Not on video, but I
Hmm.
had another podcast that, was pretty successful, never monetized, not never monetarily, but we got a lot of clicks and downloads. So I have a certain level of experience.
Right.
So we're in these sessions and they felt very light surface and hey, come buy my product after I've kind of given you the teaser or
Right.
purchase my book or purchase this. I don't like the sales pitch. That I think
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
one thing I really didn't love was I'm here to learn and I don't want to have to pay additional money to I signed up for your track. I thought that that's what we were going to be talking about. So
Right.
I I would say that would be a piece of feedback I will provide to them is
And
and
not every
having
speaker was like that.
no, but having been on like a lead reviewer for submissions for
Right.
other conferences, that was a rule that you couldn't sell, right? People didn't want you to pitch. So I believe that was similar, but it didn't feel that way.
Right.
It didn't feel like anyone adhered to that guideline.
Yeah. And I will say it would have been nice to have, it's a big space and they have tables and vendors. They have an expo hall, but they also had like tables and vendors outside the expo hall in the halls. It would have been nice for the speakers to have their tables and be labeled speaker tables so you could actually go to one area and meet the different speakers. I think that's what I would have preferred is they give their talk, but then later you have the opportunity to say, oh, okay, there's a whole section of speaker tables and you can go meet people and learn more about what they do. Because I will say it was kind of hard to identify who is a speaker in the like people in the crowd unless you're really paying attention to their lanyards. Um, and a lot of it, a lot of Podfest, it was more geared, I think, for people that may not have any podcasting experience or are super early in their journey. And, I think you said this too. It would have been nice to have, like, there was a really good session on some of the AI tools, and the guy was giving kind of demos of it, which was helpful and answering questions. But I felt like his was one of the only ones where he was doing demos. So it would have been nice to have kind of like a, hey, here are demos, 5-minute demos of each of these tools, and here's how you can apply them. So, yeah, I think some of the sessions were not super helpful. Like you came away with maybe one or two nuggets, if that. And then there were some other sessions where people were giving a lot of information to help you, which was really good. Like even one of a friend of mine that is from Dallas was there giving a talk, and she was giving really good, like very specific information on how to market your podcast.
Yeah, and there was a lot of that was the other challenge was the marketing and just how to get more exposure. It was
Right.
a lot of conflicting information. You go into one
Yes,
session and
true.
they'd say, "Do this. This is the key to success." And then you would flip
Right.
to another another session, and it would be the exact opposite. They would say,
Yeah.
what the other session said don't do, they would say to do. So it causes, to me, it's like a big Google search, right? How you have
Yeah.
to sift through and kind of figure out what information is relevant or how
Applicable.
is it helpful. And it felt there was a lot of conflicting stuff. So
Yeah.
that was a challenge because some of the things that I believed in now made me question those things because people were like, don't do that anymore. I was like,
Right.
we were talking to one person and they're like, hey, for your YouTube, create two separate channels. Don't do shorts and long form content on the same channel. Create a separate channel for shorts and then create a separate channel for long. I was like, gosh, that's a lot of work. It's not a lot of work,
Right.
but that's a lot of, separating all
Does
this
it
stuff
help?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And am I going to go through all this for what? 2 or 3
Right.
more clicks? I don't know. So who knows what is good and what is bad.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to hear, as well as some of the technology. You really wonder, and we use a couple interesting pieces of software that help us push content, right? To make it easier. So literally a platform that'll help us schedule content to release as I manually and edit everything. That way I can schedule things as I'm editing them and
Right.
pushing them to production. So there was some conflicting information whether those tools hurt your engagement or not. So I thought that
Yeah.
that was interesting. There wasn't a lot of info, and maybe those just weren't the tracks on, kind of how to utilize tooling differently, how to, what's good for editing, what's good for post production, what's good for sound quality, nothing on equipment. Does it really make sense to spend $400 on a mic, or can you spend
Yeah. Right.
$44 on a mic and get the same results? Do you need 4K? Does that help your content, right? Production quality, video quality, sound quality. It really just felt like you hear it on TikTok all the time. Just post. Just
Right.
post. Doesn't have to be good. Who cares? Just post it. Literally, it could be you
Yeah.
picking your nose, put it on there. So everything, just post, 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 post.
Right.
And I feel like different platforms either like that or don't like that. So there wasn't a lot of info saying, kind of the post cadence for YouTube. You should only post 2 times a day versus TikTok where you should post 500 times a day. So that was tough to I wish there was more information or guidance when it comes to that because everyone's different. So I guess all the content's different and it just gets
Mhm.
picked up in the algorithm different, right? The mysterious algorithm.
Yeah. But I will say one of the biggest or the coolest things about conferences in general is you get to meet a lot of people. Podcasters are a different type of person. Everybody was so friendly. I mean, people looked at you and like looked you in the eye as they pass you in the hall and they smile. People are eager to meet other people. And I thought that was really nice because you don't get that out in public very often anymore. So everybody was very eager to learn about what's your podcast and, what are you doing and who are you? Where are you from? So we did meet some really interesting people and we had a really fun day that second day interviewing podcasters. So we went around and interviewed different podcasters. And it's pretty amazing how many niche markets there are or themes for podcasts.
Yes, I would agree. And it felt, I will agree to yes. And the attendees, it felt very supportive.
Yes.
One thing I wish would have been easier is to subscribe and follow everybody, right? Like
Yeah, true. It
that
was
would have
difficult.
been it would have been cool in the app if literally you could just bump phones and it would just take you to their socials and you could like and follow because hey, at the end of the day, the more subscribers the better. And that would
Yeah.
have been a good opportunity and also not force people to be like, quick, look up my stuff, make sure you like and follow. But
Yeah.
I wish there would have been a little more of that, but it did not feel very competitive. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Which
like,
was
"Hey, I'm gonna
nice.
gatekeep." So it felt very supportive and everyone wanted to see each other be successful because it's
Right.
such a vast ocean of of topics and people like you alluded to that everyone has a niche.
Yeah. Everyone's doing something different. I mean, talk a little bit about the different types of podcasts we ran across.
Yeah, I think the first person we ran across, which was ironic, he saw my Phillies hat. He does Philly sports. So
Yeah.
got to talking to him and he was talking to us about, his Philly sports podcast and his setup and yada yada yada. So that was good. A taste of home. I love to chop it up about sports, especially after the terrible, freaking awful loss by the Eagles. What a piss poor showing by the
Sidetrack.
Birds.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, and I'm still irritated. But so I talked a little bit about that, and then we ran into a few other people. One other person that stuck out. She had been in radio for 30 years. Dee Daniels, shout out to Dee.
Yeah.
So, and had kind of walked us through her experience starting out in radio and high production quality and really doing everything manually
Mhm.
and not doing a lot on video, which I thought was
Yeah.
interesting. Her clients, so she does like a mobile podcast. Her clients prefer to be off camera and doing some true crime stuff and other types of nonprofit work with podcasting. So, very interesting group. Her and her partner were great to talk to, and we actually had lunch with them the following day. So that was really really good to kind of hear somebody that had come up through the ranks of AM radio, then to FM radio, and then to podcasting. So really, really good experience, I would say,
Yeah.
from just a industry perspective.
Yep.
What were some of the other ones? You talked to
So
two people.
I did. One guy who wore a kilt, he was awesome. Really interesting. You never would have known. He's been doing podcasting forever, and his podcast is specifically about old crime show, like old school radio crime shows. And he's got a huge following. And, just never know with people. So he talked a little bit about that. And I think he was a speaker there as well and did like a little session. And then there was another one. Who was the other one that I talked to? Shoot. I just had it and then
It
it flew
was
away.
the girl in the wheelchair.
Angela, that was actually her and the other guy who had lost his legs. He was doing comedy impressions of people for there was like a session, like a comedy entertainment session. And he was super cool. He was like, I do a show on what it's like to be like this and to still go through life with humor and talk about challenges and struggles that I face that other people like me face. And then Angela was in a wheelchair, and I actually saw her really early in the conference, and I just loved her personality. And then I had the opportunity to interview her like 2 days later, and she does a podcast on disabilities, differently abled people, and legal law and legality with advocating for yourself and for those that are differently abled. So that was super cool. So I love seeing these people that may not necessarily be out in public as speakers, or podcasting is such a great channel for people who feel comfortable talking about the things they want to talk about. So I think it's a really great avenue for lots of people. Obviously, I mean they had like over I think 2,000 registrations, right?
Yes.
And I will say too, the space is so big in the conference hall and the adjoining hotel that you don't feel like you're on top of each other. So there's plenty of space, but yet you meet someone and you see them again like a couple hours later or the next day. So it's big enough and small enough so that you're running into the same people as well as new people. So it was fun, that part. I really enjoyed connecting with people.
And for the first time in a while, and being the curmudgeon that I am, being out in public isn't always my favorite, but the level of I don't know how to like the personality type was just all very positive and people were very approachable. There really
Yeah,
wasn't a lot
right.
of cranky people there, which is refreshing, which I was surprised. So
There were a
Everyone,
couple, but
yeah, but
they were more,
everyone,
like, direct than cranky.
yeah, I would say for the most part, everyone was really pleasant and
Yes,
excited,
absolutely.
excited
Yeah.
to be there and excited to experience kind of the event as
Yeah.
well. And it wasn't, I didn't meet anybody that really pushed their podcast on you, right?
No,
Like, hey,
no.
so everyone was very humble, and which is good and bad. It's just
Right.
good and bad. So I I appreciated that aspect of it, and but I will say the more people that we talked to, I felt like a lot of them shared the same sentiment when it came to the sessions. It
Mm.
just didn't quite go deep enough, or wasn't enough meat on the bone
Right.
to really kind of sink your teeth into and be like, there was a lot of value in that talk. Now there was a few nuggets of wisdom, but nothing that we hadn't already either known or could have looked up
Right.
in regards to just, anybody can do a quick Google search. But I will
Yeah.
say a couple of the AI pieces of information were interesting, that you really start to see how to interact with AI. I thought it was interesting. One of the speakers was talking about, when you're prompting, prompt your whatever AI engine to respond in a certain way as an expert in this, right? Like, hey,
Yeah, right.
respond as an expert in this, or so I persona based responses and prompting I thought was an interesting point of view. Now, I try and use as little AI as possible,
Right.
because I enjoy the experience of going through and editing and doing all the post-production stuff, but it is the current, it is the now. So there
Right.
are some AI tooling, whether it's creating captions or helping with transposing into a summary, which just makes things easier and quicker.
More the administrative type things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's that I wish there was a bit more. The AI track that we took that we found helpful, he went into every single tool, broke down the cost and kind of his
Yes.
experience with those tools. So
Right.
actually at the end, he did offer his like coaching and classes. That was something I would have been interested in because of how in depth and
He went.
yeah, and he really knew his stuff as far as showing you the functionality and features of certain AI tools. So I thought that that was really helpful. I wish I would have sat in for, we got there late, so I wish there was another follow-up session after that, but he was
Yeah.
done for the day. So I thought that that was really helpful.
You and I talked about this, and I think this isn't just unique to this conference. I think going back to like with our travel podcast we did recently, talking about how everybody's minimizing what they offer, but yet they're charging the same price or more. The one thing that I've noticed about conferences, and I know we've got like a bunch of conferences here in Dallas, and I'm curious to know from other people if they've been experiencing the same thing. But back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, you go to conferences and they would provide coffee or waters or, just like go to Costco and get some basic snacks and have like a snack table. Not necessarily everybody provides lunch, which is fine. I get it. Like I've put on tons of events, like 20 plus events per year. I get the hospitality, it's expensive, but I have to say I was surprised that they didn't offer bottled waters or
Nothing.
coffee
Wait,
at
they
least.
offered nothing.
Yeah, so I just or just waters, by themselves. So that was kind of surprising to me. And I get that you're adjoining a hotel, so but we still went and ate lunch at the hotel restaurants, and we get snacks, but I mean, come on. I went to the cafe and where they had some you self checkout and I got a bottle water, not even a big one, and like a little bag of nuts, and it was $16, So I just thought, gosh, I get you're paying for convenience, but it would have been nice to have coffee and water at the least. So I am seeing that as a trend. A lot of places are not offering that anymore, but I think it's a real shame that they're not.
I
'Cause it's
agree.
not a lot of money for coffee and water, and I know for a fact that it's not.
Yeah, it's a nice gesture.
Right.
It just would have been honestly, there was they didn't have anything the entire time. So or
Bananas.
they did have so you could purchase the VIP ticket where they had a lunch one day and I think a mixer one day, but it was like $1,000 or something. So it
Yeah.
just to me, I've never been to a conference where they've never offered water
Yeah.
or
Right.
some sort of drink, and even in the carafe, right? Like the big carafe
Yeah.
with
I
cups.
mean, come on
I
now.
To me that was a miss, but not my conference.
True.
Hey, Podfest, how about you offer a little bit of a beverage, for
Beverage service.
2027?
And I get how I do know, and you do too, because we've done conferences or you've put together a conference before and I've done events. So we do understand like there are a lot of expenses with running an event like that, especially in that kind of a location. But highly do recommend, for next time, at least offer some waters or coffee. You don't have to
Charge
do it.
$20 more on the ticket and put
Yeah,
that towards food
right.
and beverage. I don't think people would be upset spending a little bit extra to have some of those comforts. So,
Yeah.
but yes, I thought that that was a miss.
But I will
I thought
say, I personally, being in that kind of buzzing environment, it's inspirational and there's a lot of energy, great energy. So I did come back with a lot of things, notes where I'm like, oh, we should do this and we should do that because it's fun and we like to engage with the community. So that kind of leads into our mobile, the well going
yeah,
mobile. So I'm really excited about that. We are planning on if you follow us, you'll know when and where we're going to be, but we're planning on selecting a few locations around the Dallas area to appear live and do podcasting from certain venues. And we'd love to have people come out and be a guest on our podcast and we'll talk about different things and push it out in our contents. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to come out and hang out with us.
absolutely. And it's an experiment. We're going to kind of see whether you're planning to come out or you're walking through the door and just want to sit down and have a chat.
Yeah. Coffee
Super
and a
laid
chat
back. That's right. So,
or tea
or tea or
or
water
tea or whatever or a
or,
stiff drink.
yeah, right. Now, see, that would be interesting podcasting from the bar. I'd be inclined to do that. But
Oh, it'd be dangerous. But yeah, it'll be fun. We'll be at some really fun locations. So we will be posting that soon and definitely would love for you to come out,
yeah, we
chill with
definitely
us.
walked away with a lot of inspiration and
We
a
did.
backlog of ideas to chat about. So definitely, and we'll be releasing the interviews that we did at Podfest. I'm still in editing mode, so I will be
Yes, super
hopefully
excited about
wrapping those
those.
up this week, and we'll be pushing those out. Kat on location. Kat was the
With the interviewer,
interviewing
yeah.
everyone.
I
So
love
yes,
interviewing people. I love hearing about people.
yes, and you were
So,
very good at it. So
thanks.
it was
Had
awesome.
fun.
Cat on the cat at large. Any other takeaways from Podfest? Would you go back?
I wouldn't wanna pay. I would go back, and I think I would do things a little differently. I think I would I would spend more time connecting than I would in the sessions, and I would love to do more interviews. Like, I really enjoyed hearing about all the different podcasts, so I would love to do more interviews. So I would go back. I just don't know if I would stay as long, and I wouldn't wanna pay so much for the ticket.
Yeah, I'd like to be a speaker. I think I would go back if we
That
were
would be
speaking.
fun.
I
Yeah,
would
I
like to
think
do a
that would be fun.
session. So I thought that, some of the things that I wish I would have seen, I would like to do sessions around. Not that I'm an
Yeah.
expert at this by any means, but I feel
But a
like
lot
we
of people
have
are
we
speaking
have
from
some
experience.
and I'd
You
like to
know,
share some of the challenges as a newly developed podcast trying to sift through all the information you need to kind of construct what software do I need, right? What
Your personal
publishing
plan.
really, yeah, what
Right.
RSS feeds, what, you know, what analytics should I be looking at? What
Right.
so all of those things cuz it's overwhelming. There's so much.
It is. I was
Thank
actually
goodness.
surprised, sorry to interrupt, but how much they had and how many speakers and topics they had. So there were a lot.
Yeah, and thank goodness for some of the people that have been helping us and mentoring that they have a ton of experience, so they kind of
Mhm.
streamline some of that information for us. So
Yes.
shout out to 12 Hub for always being supportive.
Right.
And check us out on 12 Hub. We do content over there as well.
Multiple things.
Yes. Lots of if you're into sneakers, politics, music,
Culture.
culture, we produce a conglomerate of podcasts over there. So, yeah, I would like to go back as a speaker. I enjoy speaking, so if you couldn't tell, but I
It'll be
like
fun.
speaking in front of an audience. I really do enjoy that. So, a live audience,
Imparting
I should say.
knowledge. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I try not to gatekeep anything.
Yeah.
So, I think we covered most of the ground. The only other thing I guess you could cover is Kat found her favorite food and it was good
Yeah.
at the bar restaurant.
Yes.
Her and her 5-year-old child had chicken fingers and lots of them.
They were I had it 2 days in a row. 2 or no, maybe 3 days. No, it was 2 days. They were so good. With barbecue sauce, that was all I ate. It didn't come with fries. So I ate the fries at night and I ate the chicken tenders for lunch. It was so good. So shout
Quite the
out to
diet.
Boardwalk in the Marriott for their amazing chicken tenders. They're
Yeah, that
really
were like
good. I
20
don't
bucks.
normally eat them, but hey, when you're on vacation,
No, I just never
be quiet.
I can never agree with that. So, any case, get off my lawn. Anyway, we'll wrap this one up.
Yes.
So, if you're interested in learning more about Podfest or want to us to answer any questions, if you're curious about it, please let us know in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and be on the lookout. We will, like Kathryn said, we will be going mobile. And if you want to be a guest on the show or pop in and witness the experience live, let us know and we'll keep an eye out and we'll be publishing where we'll be mobily podcasting. So
Yes.
live on the scene.
Right.
And that's it.
Can't
So
wait.
that's I know, I'm excited.
I
That's
am
gonna be fun.
excited.
We're already looking forward to it. We already are planning with a particular place,
Location,
and they're
venue.
excited to have us, and we are excited to be there. So
Yes.
already have a partner in crime, but
Yeah.
we'll put a pin in this one, and we'll bid everyone a farewell. So this is episode
Yes.
16 of the Well, the the Podfest 2026 overview. I'm
In
Drew.
Orlando, Florida.
Yes,
I like to mention the location.
I
And I'm
see that.
Kat.
And that's episode 16 of the Well, and
Yes.
we we'll see you for the next episode.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.